Hello viewers and welcome back to my channel. It was a bit of a change of scenery. The reasoning for this is, well, first of all, I'm recording this later at night, so I don't exactly have people around to help me with this. But my PC just okay, I'm gonna do a little unstructured thing. My PC back there spontaneously stopped working. I don't know what happened. I got up out of bed to record this video and it just wasn't working. So forgive me. Hopefully I'll be able to get back to recording at my desk soon. But for today, it's going to be a bit rough. It has been a hot minute since I recorded a video. But you wouldn't know that. So today we're recording at my bed. Woohoo. Yeah. That's really all you need to know. Okay. I'm also using my Chromebook for this. So if you see me leaning forward, it's because I don't have my glasses on and I can't see. I'm sorry. So we last left off the story with Spider-Man Blue. A short film that talks about Peter post Gwen's death and all the emotions that come from that, and at the end he decides to resume being Spider-Man. But he's not ready to move on to other girls yet. That's gonna kind of be the minor plot of, I guess, the major plot of this next movie. Because yes, this one is a movie. I'm not doing another short film. I don't have another short film planned for these. I haven't even gotten started work on the next movie after this yet. So, as always, your comments are greatly appreciated. I think as a recording, part 1 just went up. So, we'll see how well this goes. But this is Spider-Man 3, Mysterio's Menace. Right, yes. Title is stolen from the video game of the same name. If I remember, I'll put a picture up here. There was a video game that came out for probably like the Sega Genesis called Spider-Man. No, I don't think it was the Genesis. It was something older. That was Spider-Man Mysterio's Menace. I think it was the GBA. I don't know. That's not older. This is following the trend. I think it's like 2.5 pages. So, without further ado, let's stop putting this off and actually get into this. You'll also notice I'm wearing a different shirt than I have been wearing for my videos. That's because I had school and I'm too lazy to change my shirt. Let's go. Okay. Don't darken on me, screen. Peter's speed swinging through the city at night, trying to make it to MJ's play. Much like the opening to Spider-Man 3, the Sam Raimi. Peter makes it to the door, but he's too late. Flowers in his hand fall to the ground, and Peter goes to sit on a bench until the play is over. He recalls memories from the past few months, and he sees MJ come. So, he recalls memories from the past few months. This is going to be our bridge between Spider-Man Blue and this movie. This movie is set a few months after Spider-Man Blue. Spider-Man Blue is set around high school graduation, so probably like May. If you're looking at times, it'd be around May. So this would be either like the summer months or fall or winter. It'd be that same year, basically. So yeah, there are three pieces of three major pieces of media taking place in a year, which is very rare for Spider-Man, I feel. I mean, Far From Home. Okay, I'm gonna go off on a tangent if I cut myself off more. We're like what we're 5.5 minutes in. I'm not even through the first paragraph. It's gonna be a long video. He sees MJ comforting him after Gwen's death, a scene referenced in Spider-Man Blue, high school graduation, and moving in with Harry. Peter and Harry are going to move in. It's going to be a plot device for this movie. Various shots of helping Miles at Feast, because yes, Miles is here now. You're going to see him, but you're not going to know who he is yet. And superheroing, I don't know what else to say, also show when people start exiting the theater, Peter heads backstage to see MJ. Naturally, she's a tad mad and she berates him for missing the show. And Peter tries to explain the hang-up. You know, she knows, if you remember Spider-Man 2, she knows he's Spider-Man. And so, you know, she should understand. He feels she should understand. And she does. And she tries to understand, but sometimes it just gets to be a lot. She's tried to understand him, but it just gets to be a lot. It piles up in the end. Peter hands her the flowers that dropped on the floor and were sitting next to him on the bench, and he leaves saddened. You know, he's sad. He hurt his friend. You don't want to hurt your friend. Don't hurt your friends, kids. I don't want to say I've hurt my friends, but my friends have hurt all throughout my life. My friends have hurt me in ways. Don't hurt them. It doesn't feel great. Take it from someone who has done a little of the hurting and has actually felt the hurt. So Peter gets up the next day and he heads to his internship at Otto Octavius's lab. This whole first scene with Otto basically mirrors the opening lab section with Otto in Insomniac's Marvel's Spider-Man. So, you know, Otto reiterates the focus of his work, which is to revolutionize prosthetics. And they run an experiment that fails, but they're optimistic. And Otto tells Peter to take the rest of the day off while Otto cleans up the lab. Peter offers to stay and help, but Otto shoves him out. He says, go do literally whatever. Not be here is the gist. I was a little sick at the time, right now. So, just know that. Peter has the feast, and it's there that he meets up with Miles. We just see him, and they're like, hey, buddy, you know. The two have clearly spent some time together, and Peter forgot what it was like having a friend who didn't know he was Spider-Man. You know, it's been a few months. It's been a few months. And so now his friends all know he's Spider-Man. So, you know, he's back to lying. Peter mentions needing some help with the bugle, and Miles graciously volunteers to help. And then MJ drops by to apologize how she was behaving the previous night. It's always best to, like, in the moment, you're going to be a little emotional, so naturally, in the morning, you can just rethink back and realize, oh yeah, I was being a bit of a turd nugget. And then you want to go right your wrongs. So she shows up, and because she thinks that's where he's going to be, which he is. Peter forgives her, says it's alright, and Miles just looks clueless as the two omit the Spider-Man related details, you know. Sorry I was late. it's okay. I know you had that glance in Miles' direction thing. Peter formally introduces the two, and this is where we get the full name drop from Miles Morales. You know, it's going to be like, hey, Miles, and then you're going to be like, Miles who? And then it's just like, oh, MJ, this is Miles Morales. Miles, this is Mary Jane Watson. And then MJ leaves. And Miles hints at some kind of a spark between the friends. A romantical spark, if you will. Peter laughs it off, you know, ha ha ha, and then he's like, wait, is he right? Is there something deeper going on? And it's at this point we're going to start following MJ. MJ heads back to the playhouse for rehearsals for the second night. And we're introduced to Quentin Beck, a special effects producer for her current play. Yes, I know in the comics he wants to go to Hollywood and all that fun stuff. I need to write him into the plot somehow. I've said before that the other ones are really shaky. This one is, I think a card tower. That's kind of the plot of this. That's how fragile it is. If I remember at the end of this, I got something cool to show. So Beck came from California to work on Broadway. Reasons revealed later. And he's the best in special effects. Beck asks MJ out. She shoots him down. Just not what she's looking for. She's kind of also in a relationship with Harry. Because that's still going on. Beck hints that this wasn't the first time. He's like, man, again. But MJ tells him she has a boyfriend. For now, at least. This is an important key part that I thought to add in. For now, at least. Beck asks what's going on. Because if you add for now, at least, to I have a boyfriend, something's going on. MJ says things aren't going well with Harry. He's being distant and, quote, he's trauma dumping far too much. I don't think I know what trauma dumping means. Beck asks if there's anything he can do. MJ just says she likes another guy, that he's not in a position to date anyone right now. Beck again says he's available, and MJ again says no. Persistent. Beck, now not in a great mood, heads out. Offset, you know, blah blah blah. Spider-Man swings to the city and he sees a large cloud of green smoke off in the distance. He thinks to himself, I should probably go investigate that. But he also wants to make it to MJ's play because he doesn't want to miss it again. But I like this quote here. The needs of the city outweigh the needs of the nerd. As a nerd, yes. He swings over and he sees, this is probably my favorite writing ever. And I wrote a full book about me and my friends. Let me know if you want to see that. He swings over to see a man with a fishbowl for a head robbing a bank. Peter defeats the magician and webs him outside before going to his prior engagement. This is literally what I wrote. I kid you not. He makes it on time, but the play is delayed due to a missing Beck. We don't know where he is. Obviously, we, the Spider-Man fans, know Quentin Beck is Mysterio. Spoiler alert if you didn't know that already. I'm sorry. When the play doesn't start for an hour, everyone just kind of gives up and goes home. I understand that an hour delay is actually relatively standard. Someone can correct me on that. But they just kind of get fed up and they go home. Both Peter and Harry go and talk to MJ backstage. And, you know, they're like, hey, so what's going on? And they're like, yeah, okay, Beck's missing. And MJ decides it's time to break the news to Harry. She doesn't want to be in a relationship with him anymore. Peter excuses himself because it's not really his place to be there. It's an awkward conversation between a couple. No one wants to be there. And he heads outdoors. MJ, he goes to probably sit on the bench from earlier. MJ joins him a little later and apologizes for the commotion tonight. You know, Beck being gone and also breaking up with Harry. A lot of commotion in that like hour and a half time frame. Fighting Beck, fighting Mysterio, the fishbowl magician. Hour play, break up with Harry. Peter says it's okay, and in a spontaneous moment of weakness and like emotional fragility, she kisses him. Peter steps back and excuses himself again. He's not ready. My goodness, I just said he like 5 times. He's not ready for this. It caught him off guard. He wasn't expecting it, and he just needs to go. Not here. MJ sits on the bench and cries. You know, she might have just screwed things up with her best friend. She doesn't want things to go bad anymore. Harry Osborn peeks around the corner, scowls. I would do a scowl, but you can't see under the mask. And he retreats back into the shadows. This is important for later. Next page. Peter goes to bed, tossing and turning, thinking of how he might have betrayed Gwen. You know, he doesn't want... He still loves her. She may have died, like, 6, 7, 8 months ago, but he still loves her. He's not exactly ready to get over her. Next day, Peter and Miles go to Oscorp for bugle work. That was mentioned earlier. This is, I'm thinking, going to start Act 2. And the two interview Norman Osborn, head of Oscorp, regarding the new holotech. Excuse me. Once the interview is over, Norman asks them if they wanted to see the continuation of Richard Parker's research, which I talked about back in Spider-Man 1. But this is new research since the discovery of Spider-Man. He takes them to a secret lab. I'm thinking behind a painting or something. Much like Marvel Spider-Man again. Containing several spiders. Peter immediately knows what Norman is doing. He's trying to recreate the incident that created Spider-Man. And as Norman talks, the fear sets in. And he's just kind of like zoning out, not paying attention, like, oh no, what's going on? This can't be good. And as Peter's like zoned out in fear, and Norman's like, we're looking to create the next generation of super spiders. Miles is investigating the spiders, and he accidentally ends up getting bit because he's an idiot. And also, we need him to become Spider-Man. I'll detail his power set when we get to his movie. I'll talk about that in the end of this. Once Miles gets bit, you know, camera cuts to Harry. And he's looking for Mysterio. He ends up running into him, breaking into the museum. Why is he breaking into the museum? I don't know. Is he trying to steal a tablet of time? I don't know. I haven't played Shattered Dimensions. I would love to, but it's like $200. Mysterio is confused as to why a seemingly normal man like Harry Osborn is just walking up to him and asking for his help. But he listens. Harry says he wants revenge on Spider-Man, and he is willing to make a deal real thug shaker. Mysterio takes him up on the deal, and Harry tells him to meet him later. We're doing this under the cover of night. Miles and Peter exit Oscorp, and they head to the Bugle. They pass MJ's Playhouse, and that brings up the topic of, quote, Miss Mary Jane. Peter breaks everything down for Miles, explaining Gwen's death, Harry, the kiss, everything. In that walk from the Playhouse all the way over to the Daily Bugle. Miles advises him to go for it. Because it's Miles. He doesn't know what Peter's thinking. Peter's still unsure. Again, I call back. He's still in love with Gwen. Despite the fact that she's, cat. Oh, the neck crack, actually. That was scary. So, in his moment of doubt and just complete not knowing what he's doing, he goes to his mentor, Otto Octavius, for advice. When in doubt, seek someone smarter than yourself. For some people, this is very easy because they are very dumb. Other people, sometimes you have to look harder, or if you're a Christian, look above. Otto tells him that girls are confusing. Simple as that. But when you know, you know. I'm thinking of calling back some stuff from Spider-Man 2, because in Spider-Man 2, Otto has several quotes about love and stuff from before he goes all psycho killer tentacles in control. Just before he leaves, Otto mentions seeing Peter's blueprints on his desk, working on stuff for Spider-Man. And he assumes Peter's Spider-Man's designer, much like, again, Marvel Spider-Man. If you played the game or seen footage, you'll know where I'm going with this. Otto provides a new, more defensive design, and Peter thanks him, taking the blueprints, and Peter then develops the new suit, the advanced suit, but we don't see it yet. I did actually take the time to draw out to more detail the suits. If you saw they're kind of tiny. Like, here's kind of what the whole notebook page looks like. I recently had a large period of open time, so I decided to draw out kind of more blown up versions. Each of these takes up like half a page. So here is the wrestler / homemade suit. You can pause if you need. The classic suit. And I believe that's all the suits we've had up till this point. So, lastly, here is the advanced suit in all of its glory. It does look a little bit scuffed, I'm sorry. I'm not great at drawing. I'm not taking art. I can't draw. So, my apologies. But what you need to know is basically big spider logo, and the legs go kind of up and around the body. It looks a lot better when it doesn't look scuffed. It looks a lot better when I don't draw it. Let's just leave it at that. I haven't had anyone else draw it. I might commission my friend to actually draw the suit professionally. He's a very good artist. Late at night, back to the story. Late at night, Harry meets with Mysterio. Harry offers Oscorp tech alongside valuable information. in exchange for ruining Spider-Man's life. Because what else would you want to do? Mysterio, having heard of Oscorp's expansion into holotech, agrees. He needs that tech. I don't know why I did that. I'm sorry. Harry tells him Spider-Man's identity, Peter Parker, and gives him ideas of how to screw him over. Mysterio asks why you want to do this and how. And Harry simply tells him that Peter kissed his recently ex-girlfriend, and Mysterio, with a passion in his voice, it's important to note, agrees. He has a passion in his voice. I don't know when I touch on that. It'll come up eventually. That's at night. Sun rises, and Peter gets a call from MJ asking him to come out. Peter throws on some clothes, probably just like a jacket and jeans, and heads to the playhouse because that's probably where she'd be. When he gets there, he sees MJ. This is my favorite scene. It is so fun. When he gets there, he sees MJ. She's facing away from him. You know, just excuse me. And he walks over to her. He's like, MJ, Mary Jane, hey, what's going on? And he when he gets to her, he like puts a hand on her shoulder. It's like, hey, and she turns around, but she has Gwen's face. And the body shifts to become more like Gwen, you know. I don't know what the difference in height for the actors will be, but like if she has to like shrink or like what have you. Point is, it shifts into Gwen. And she asks Peter, why would you betray me? Or something like that. I don't know. This isn't a script. As much as it sounds like a script, it's not a script. She brings up several things that Peter only mentioned to the tape recorder. Obviously, Harry was still within earshot. And Peter, you know, it eventually gets to be too much, and Peter just falls off the stage. Maybe into the orchestra pit, maybe just onto the floor. I don't know. Depends on how I scale everything. Depends on how they scale the set. When he's down, Uncle Ben offers to help him up. Yeah, Uncle Ben, the one who died in the first movie. Once Peter's on his feet, Ben talks about not using his power, how Peter's not using his power responsibly. He's been selfish in times, and he let Gwen die. Like an idiot who doesn't know math or physics. Peter looks around confused as to where Gwen went. He's like, excuse me. He's like, where the fudge did she go? I don't see her around. Where did Ben come from? And then Ben, you know, he's like, where is she? Ben shakes him back to reality. And he reiterates his previous point about not using his power responsibly before the room begins to warm. The room's just gonna like, wee, or something. I don't know. What's that TikTok filter that like, wee? I swear I don't have ADHD or autism or anything. I'm just like this. Peter loses his footing as, you know, it's disorienting. Peter sees a different angle of his kiss with MJ. You know, his angle was obviously, mwah, she's right there. This angle is going to be not Harry from behind the corner, but from a bit more distance away. And as he's watching this from a distance, MJ comes up behind him and blames him for her best friend's death. Her best friend, Gwen Stacy, they got to be very close because when besties date, their girlfriends tend to mingle. So, I don't know. I'm a guy. I've never had a girlfriend, so I can't speak for anything. Someone who has more experience in this than me, let me know in the comments. And MJ says she never wants to see his face again. With this, reality roars back to normal, and Peter collapses on the floor, weeping. It's been a rough morning for him. He just had his dead ex-girlfriend, his dead uncle, and the girl he's now just starting to like all come in and just say, "You suck." So after Peter collapsed on the floor weeping, we see a quick shot of Quentin Beck peeking around the corner before swiftly retreating. Just a little. Peter's got a lot of emotions now. Primarily doubt. It's been rough for the man, and he doesn't know what to do anymore. And he's ultimately contemplating quitting being Spider-Man again. At this point, as he's holding his mask, just, what do I do here? MJ walks in. And Peter is notably confused. Just a little bit, "Hey, I thought you didn't want to see my face again. Or talk to me." And MJ is just, "Huh? What do you mean?" And then Peter walks her through what happened. And MJ kind of acts as his anchor to reality. Just a, hey, just a reminder, that didn't happen. And after deducing what he knew from his previous encounter, I think it was only one encounter, with Mysterio, he deduces, okay, this has to be Mysterio causing this. And now that he knows it's Mysterio, he begins to doubt his future confrontation with Mysterio, because how do you fight someone that can conjure your greatest demons? And this is one of my favorite quotes from this. I've had this since I first wrote the Mysterio's Menace. And it's like, this is not the first draft of this movie, Spider-Man 3, or the one titled Mysterio's Menace, which was originally movie 2. This quote's been around, always been here, and MJ, as Peter's there, he says, "I don't know how I can fight this man who can conjure my greatest demons." MJ comes in and says, "By holding on to what's true." And then she kisses him. I'm staring into the camera for added effect. Peter hangs on to the kiss. Now, previously he quickly, what? No, why? Now he hangs on to it like this is what's sustaining him. And he fully realizes his feelings for her. He now knows, this is the woman I love. MJ pulls away and tells him to, quote, "Go get him, Tiger." We need the quote. Peter grabs his new suit that we established earlier, and he leaps out the window. Just dive head forth. Harry looks out from the hallway and he sees that Peter and MJ have a connection that he and MJ just didn't have. And he knows Peter's been struggling without Gwen, and he clearly likes MJ, and MJ clearly likes him. He decides to back off. You know, not gonna hire any more supervillains to hunt his best friend. Now, so Peter swings through the city. Now, he's swinging off to go find Mysterio. And the camera gives us a full look of the advanced suit. And Peter lands at the museum, which is where we found Mysterio earlier. Harry found Mysterio earlier. And he finds Mysterio peeking through things again. Maybe do a quick reference to Shattered Dimensions with the Tablet of Time. I don't know. So, Peter being Peter, asks about his motives. Like, why are you trying to screw my life over? And more importantly, how do you know my identity? And Mysterio gives him his backstory. Mysterio tells him he came to New York because if even an amateur man like Spider-Man can get famous, so could he. But he got distracted by a girl. MJ. And then when he saw MJ and Peter kiss, he felt rageful. And when Harry made the deal with him and revealed Peter's identity, he hated Spider-Man even more. Peter's notably confused as to why his best friend would betray him to the hands of a supervillain. But he decides to focus more on the task at hand in the fight. As they fight, Peter and Beck banter over various things. You know, MJ fame, general heroics, etc., etc. Peter ends the fight by cracking Mysterio's dome-shaped head and letting kind of the gas spill out. And he tells Beck that this is no way to win over a girl. This is not the way you do it. You gotta be the nice guy. Nice guy's never gotten me anywhere, side note, but I haven't put forth my greatest effort in making myself noticed by women. But that's neither here nor there. As Peter leaves the now destroyed museum, he begins a new message to Gwen by a tape recorder. And this is our closing monologue. Talks about his new love for MJ and how if his next girlfriend were to be anyone, I'm trying to read this, I'm sorry. If his next girlfriend were to be anyone, she, Gwen, would want it to be MJ. The monologue ends with Peter and MJ standing out of Peter's balcony, admiring the New York skyline at sunset. And the camera pans into the sun and the advanced suit logo, because yes, there's a different logo. Classic suit logo. I have all the logos kind of sketched out roughly. We have wrestler / homemade, classic, and then we're here now with the advanced. As new suits are added, more logos will be created. But some of the suits I have planned just share the same icon. And now we're at credits. Yay! If you recall, the past, 2 movies have not had any mid or post credit scenes. This has been done because what would I even do for the first one? And the second one, it doesn't feel right to throw a mid or post credit scene after that emotional of an ending. Plus, Spider-Man Blue is basically the mid/post credit scene, is basically the post credit scene of that movie. So that's my explanation. But there's a mid credit scene for this movie, and it's set immediately after that final, well, like during. So while the camera's flying off into the sky, the sun, this is happening. Miles comes into Peter's apartment and says that some weird stuff's been going on with him, you know, and he needs to talk to someone he can trust. And naturally, he goes to a man who's only a few years older than him, and they become buddy-buddy as opposed to his parents. Can't say I blame him. I do the same. Peter asks what's going on, and Miles says it's just easier to show him. So, this scene basically echoes Marvel Spider-Man again. You know, Miles jumps up and he sticks to the ceiling. And Peter looks at MJ, and MJ looks at him, and they're just kind of like, okay. And then Peter mimics Miles. And they both kind of like stare at each other like, spider people. Yay. My final sentence here is there's a it just goes from Peter mimics Miles to there's a second Spider-Man in town. I think that's going to be the tagline for the next movie, which I've written none of. I don't even have an outline of what I want to do for the plot. It's been a busy couple weeks. Okay, I finished this up during like the last week of summer. And since then, it has been stuff after school starting after stuff. So I literally have nothing. But the next movie is going to be Spider-Man Miles Morales. And I'm thinking the tagline is going to be that final line. There's a second Spider-Man in town. And yes, Miles does have his own suit and logo. But we'll get to that when we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But thank you so much for watching. Again, I have to reiterate this every single time. Any ideas, any at all, please leave them in the comments. I greatly appreciate your commentary. And I could use something to do in my periods of boredom where I actually don't have homework. Yeah. I'll see you on the flip side.